In his speech on September the 23rd at the Wisconsin State Capitol in Madison, U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo emphasized the importance of discerning and resisting the CCP's United Front work in the state and local governments and communities. This has brought new attention to the United Front work, which he listed as one of the 3 CCP strategies, the other 2 being armed struggle and party building.
In August, General Secretary of the Chinese Communist Party, Xi Jinping, told a group of government economists and sociologists in Beijing, quote, "We must actively develop cooperation with all countries, regions, and enterprises willing to cooperate with us, including states, localities, and enterprises inside the United States." As the Secretary of State and as the former director of the Central Intelligence Agency, let me translate. She knows that the federal government is pushing back against the Chinese Communist Party here in the United States and its malign influence, and it sees that here in the United States and increasingly around the world, it can use subnational entities to circumvent America's sovereignty. He thinks local leaders may well be the weak link. For him, when he uses the word cooperation and opening up, he means that the Chinese Communist Party wants to create arrangements that benefit the Chinese Communist Party.
A Washington think tank studied over 160 recent budgets of various CCP government agencies and discovered that in 2019 alone, the United Front work cost the CCP central government at least $1.4 billion US. Provincial and local United Front expenditures exceeded $1.3 billion US. The total United Front expenditure, therefore, surpassed that of the CCP's Ministry of Foreign Affairs, whose budget in 2019 was about $2 billion US. Jamestown Foundation released a report on September the 16th. The report didn't count the expenditures of the CCP Central United Front Work Department, as its budget is unavailable. The think tank's estimate for that is over $400 million US. The United Front Work Department mainly focuses on suppressing ethnic and religious groups. The regime spends more than $1.2 billion US each year in this area, according to the Jamestown report. This is followed closely by the work of influencing foreigners and overseas Chinese communities, for which the CCP invests nearly $600 million US a year. Analyst Ryan Fedosuk wrote in the report, quote, "There's a universal truth known to government bureaucrats in every country. Budgets speak louder than words." The report assumes budgets are the same as expenditures, as in the typical use it or lose it nature of government funding. The report also mentions the 4 CCP government departments that are vital to the work of Central United Front Work Department, including the CCP Political Consultative Conference, State Ethnic Affairs Commission, Overseas Chinese Affairs Office of the State Council, and the All China Federation of Industry and Commerce. Among them, the Overseas Chinese Affairs Office of the State Council is responsible for overseas propaganda work and instills, quote, "unified thinking" to residents of Hong Kong, Macau, and Taiwan, attracts foreign talents, and examines information that it considers related to, quote-unquote, foreign intervention. The Overseas Chinese Affairs Office is also responsible for receiving outstanding foreigners in China, contacting Chinese students and scholars in order to promote the science and technology cooperation and talent development program. The report cited Jiangxi Province's 2019 budget documents, indicating that the Overseas Chinese Affairs Office also partners with the CCP's National Security and Intelligence Departments to, quote, "supervise and inspect the implementation of foreign affairs discipline and foreign-related confidentiality systems." In light of the facts, I'd ask this question. If there's really nothing nefarious going on with the United Front, why do some provinces feel compelled to classify information about their United Front works as secret? Fedosuk wrote in a tweet about his findings on September the 16th. Fedosuk said that the large budget of the United Front Work Department shows, quote, "the party attaches great importance to the United Front Work Department and uses it as a tool for exerting influence at home and abroad." According to Fedosuk's report, The China-U.S. Exchange Foundation, which is a Chinese United Front organization in the United States, is one of the important entities. The CCP has provided funding for its lobbying activities in the United States in the past decade. The chairman of the organization is the current vice chairman of the CPPCC, or the Chinese People's Political Consultative Conference. However, the organization has repeatedly denied ties to the CCP and claims to be, quote, independent from the regime. In the first half of 2020, China-U.S. Exchange Foundation and the Chinese embassy paid over $400,000 to BLJ Worldwide, a U.S. public relations company, as compensation for its so-called Great International Propaganda work. BLJ was one of the 7 contractors the CCP engaged for the campaign.